This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, I'm Jason, and this is my Ghave Guru of Spores deck. Hey guys, this is my Ghave Guru of Spores deck. Really fun general, really fun deck. His ability is when he comes into play, he enters the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters. You pay 1, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, and then put a +1/+1 or put a 1/1 green sapling into play. Or you can pay 1, sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it's just kind of a counter manipulation, token manipulation, and that's basically what I did with this deck, as I focused it on tokens and +1/+1 counters. So it's really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. So let's do this. Alright, starting off, it has 7 forests, 7 swamps, and 9 plains. Alright, Vitu-Ghazi, the city tree. Not sure if that's, pronounced correctly. But really fun, versatile land. Just taps to add 1 mana to your mana pool. But if, you really don't have anything to do, it helps, put in a 1/1 green sapling token, which then can be turned into a +1/+1 counter if you have Ghave out. So yeah, just fun land. Vault of the Archangel. This land has definitely won me games before. I mean, if you have a bunch of tokens out, you're either swinging in, killing a bunch of creatures because all your creatures have death touch, or you're swinging in and getting a lot of damage into the player, and either way you're gaining life. So if people don't deal with this land, I'm getting a lot of life, things are dying. Just really fun. Really good card, has definitely won me games. Gavony Township just really is synergetic with the general, putting counters on each of your creatures gives you, depending on how many tokens you have out, gives you a wide array of +1/+1 counters to work with, just really synergetic. Then we got all 3 of the bounce lands. The mana costs are kind of all over the place, so these just kind of help later game with them. And I like them. A little risky, but fun. Sunpetal Grove, just to help filter, what you need. Command Tower, same thing. Oran-Rief of the Vastwood. Again, a lot of green, tokens coming into play, so it helps put those +1/+1 counters on there. Get counters plus going for Ghave. Reflecting Pool, just getting those land colors you need. Murmuring Bosk, I like the fact that it's a forest. Also, if need be, it does a pain for the 2 other colors you may need. These are my favorite lands, filter lands. I love these lands, especially with the mana doubling things I have in this deck. They tap for a lot of mana. Yeah, just really versatile lands. They're my favorite in any EDH deck. And then the Pride and Joy of the deck. Gaea's Cradle. This can be really disgusting with, depending on how many creatures you have out on the board. Token deck, usually putting in a bunch of creatures. This thing taps for a lot, gets a lot done for me. Really can abuse with Gave's ability, or Gave's ability. Just a really, really good card for a creature deck. Alright, into the Planeswalkers. There's only 2 Planeswalkers in here. This is a recent addition, Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. The up ability gives you tokens. If you have Doubling Season, he comes in with 6. So, I mean, if you want to, you can ultimate, or, you can minus down a couple times, get you multiple emblems to make your tokens bigger, swinging in for more. If they're the life-linking vampires, getting more life. Really just a really good token Planeswalker. Really looking forward to using him. Garruk Primal Hunter in other green decks is usually used dropped in for his minus, draw cards for the big green creature you have. But in here, he's definitely more for the token aspect, upping him and then hopefully getting an ultimate off. Get a lot of worm tokens into play. If you do have doubling season, he can drop in an ultimate immediately, which is really, really nice. And if I'm just behind in cards, he's also not too bad to get a token out of him and then keep him alive through drawing cards. Just a really versatile planeswalker. In this deck, he's really, really great. Skullclamp, putting in tokens, obviously, clamping him down, drawing more cards. Blade of the Bloodchief. This was not originally in here, but when I was going through my rares, just looking around, I came across it, and then with the Lord of Innistrad adding vampires, it makes the second part of this really good. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on the equipped creature. If it's a vampire, it gets 2. So just a lot of things are dying. A lot of sack outlets or sacking going on with this deck. So a lot of creatures dying. A lot of +1/+1 counters, which then means more creatures. It's just really, really great card. Here's another sack outlet. You have a bunch of tokens, you need a bunch of mana. Gets you that extra mana you need. This also is a combo, so I'll set it aside to show the combo. But it's also just really good card, and to get that extra land or extra mana. Coat of Arms, obviously a token deck, lots of the same type of creatures in play. So usually mostly helping me. There are a few tribal decks in my play group, but other than that, you just got to play this card really. You got to play it smart, but otherwise, it's bad news when this hits. Eldrazi Monument, really easy to pump out tokens. So the sacking part of this deck, you don't really need to worry about it too much. Akroma's Memorial, just giving all your creatures haste is amazing, and vigilance, a really great card. Got a couple ramp spells here: Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, and Explosive Vegetation. Usually these three are like staples in always go in my green decks. Alright, got a couple Wraths here. Decree of Pain, really, really great, especially when I have a lot of creatures out. If I'm not too worried, if I know I can rebuild from a wipe, Decree of Pain allows me to draw lots and lots of cards. Also, if, things are getting really bad, you can cycle, draw a card. But yeah, just, versatile Wrath, I like it. Damnation, just clear the board. Martial Coup, usually with double mana stuff out that I have, more mana, allows me to put a bunch of tokens into play, which is just really great for, Ghave and things like that. This is a relatively recent addition to the deck. Obviously with mass amounts of creatures, not everyone's going to have blockers for all of them, so this is usually, a kill shot, giving all my creatures +1/+1 and infect. Sometimes the games just run really long and you just gotta, finish them. So it's a good card to have. Aura Manipulation, or Mutation, excuse me. Really good instant enchantment hit. A lot of enchantments, at least in EDH, tend to cost quite a bit. So you're getting 3 to 6 more often than not tokens off of this, and it's instant, so that's really nice. Just plays into the deck. If you can control cards here, we got Putrefy for creatures and artifacts, Mortify creatures and enchantments, Condemn to tuck those generals, Path and Swords to remove those hard to deal with creatures from the game. Nomads Assembly, really broken card, at least in this deck. You got a bunch of saplings out, then you cast this. Now you got a bunch of white core soldier tokens, and then this also rebounds. So if you're got the monument out and your creatures are indestructible, you're gonna be getting, you know, more tokens. Also, relatively recent addition to the deck. I was kind of on the fence with this, but you know, realizing that Ghave just has, you know, so much potential with +1/+1 counters. It does so much. Does so much for the deck, and plus with the flashback, you're getting 10 counters on a creature. Just really versatile card, and it's, you know, relatively cheap. 4 for 5 +1/+1 counters. That's, you know, 4 for 5 creatures. You know, when you look at it in the long run, so really nice. True Conviction, because, you know, why don't you want all your tokens to be swinging in for double strike lifelink, and also paired with Beastmaster's Ascension, just things get out of hand, really ridiculous. We're getting into the enchantments here. This is actually an enchantment heavy deck. Doubling Season, for obvious reasons, putting in more tokens, also getting more counters on everything. Just, this is probably the all-star of the deck. Then it's like Baby Brother, Parallel Lives, you know, putting in multiple tokens instead of just one. Really nice. Bitter Blossom, you know, upkeep, getting tokens depending on what enchantments you have out, getting double tokens, clamping them down, drawing cards. Asceticism to help protect your creatures. Mainly Ghave, just because you know, he's really synergetic with most of the cards in this deck. Aura Shards, putting in a bunch of creatures, so there's probably going to be little to no enchantments or artifacts on my opponent's board once this hits. And if this isn't dealt with, then, you know, it's basically lands and creatures is all you're going to really have against me. So Mirari's Wake, one of the, you know, mana doubling things, plus gives all my tokens +1/+1, so, you know, they're not as weak. Mana Reflection, just amazing ramp, making all your stuff tap for double, you know, allows you to do more things with Ghave a turn. Just really great. Grave Pack's in here because, like I said, a bunch of sacking going on, you know. If you don't really necessarily want to wipe the board, but they don't have enough creatures, you know, you can just sack a few, you know, manipulate the +1/+1 counters and the creatures, and, you know, get a clear board out there for, you know, swings in on players. Phyrexian Arena, just a little bit of draw. Since I run so many enchantments and things like that, I run the Sterling Grove Privileged Position. Let's set up, you know, give all my permanent Shroud once these are both out. Game becomes really difficult once these both hit, just because I'm putting out so many, you know, creatures, and you can't really do anything with it. You can't target them or anything. Alright, getting into the creatures. Token creature, Rampaging Baloth. Whenever you landfall, you put a 4/4 token into play. So depending on what enchantments you have out, you could be landfalling, getting multiple creatures. Bloodgift Demon, you know, just more draw. Woodfall Primus, really good. Just, you know, dealing with those problem non-creature permanents. Vigor is amazing in this deck because when your creatures block, you're putting +1/+1 counters on them, which then in turn Ghave can manipulate to, you know, put in more creatures. It's just an endless loop of +1/+1 counters and creatures, and it's just really synergetic with the deck. I like it a lot. Mirror Angel, kind of a little crappier version of the Rampaging Baloth, putting in a 1/1 flying bird token whenever you landfall. Hornet Queen, I like this because, you know, you drop it in, you're potentially getting 8 green tokens depending on, you know, what enchantments you have out again. They all have Death Touch, which is really fun, especially when they're indestructible. Stops people from swinging in on you. Acidic Slime, you know, same kind of thing, just problem artifacts, enchantments, or lands. Academy Rector, you know, sacker, get a Sapperling token, and then, you know, you search up one of your enchantments, you know, to help protect your deck. Vorinclux, just in here really to, you know, help control players' lands, and also a double mine. Elish Norn, I mean, what token deck wouldn't want this in there? You know, just pumping your creatures for free. She's got vigilance, you know, minusing everyone else's creatures. She's just an amazing. Both these Praetors are just amazing. Michaeloth, you know, putting so many tokens into play, it's Devour is like no big deal. You Devour 5, he starts putting in 10 tokens. And he also has +1/+1 counters on him, so you can start with Ghave, you know, you can rotate, put more counters on him, so he puts in more saplings. It's just really synergetic, really great card in the deck. Machias, kind of same thing, you know, just +1/+1 counter manipulation. If you have a lot of mana, you know, you can give all your creatures +1/+1 counters. I actually haven't gotten a chance to use her, so I'm really kind of excited to use her now that she's in the deck. So we'll see. I like her. Sigil Captain, a lot of 1/1s coming into play depending on, you know, I mean, unless Coat of Arms is out of those kind of things, but if there are 1/1s, they're going to start dropping in as 3/3s, which is a lot better for me. You know, just better blockers, better damage all around. Ant Queen, you know, just for when you have that spare mana open, you can just start pumping in insect tokens. Terrastodon, again, you know, a problem, non-creature permanents, and if, you know, you're doing fine, you just blow up your own things, you know, get tokens yourself. If you have Doubling Season, you're getting multiple tokens. Just kind of versatile card. You can use it against yourself or other players, depending on what your situation is. Angel of Despair, really nice, you know, Vindicate on a stick. Primordial Hydra, this guy's also kind of a mean creature in here. You know, he doubles his +1/+1 or counters each turn. So I mean, he's just an infinite factory of tokens, or +1/+1 counters for Ghave to manipulate and turn into more tokens. Avenger of Zendikar, probably one of the best, you know, token producers out there. You know, you have a lot of lands, he puts a bunch of tokens in. Landfall, make them bigger. Then if you have Doubling Season, you're putting more +1/+1 counters on them. You know, just all a bunch of manipulation with Ghave. Mirror Entity, for when you feel that your, you know, tokens aren't big enough, you just make them giant, swing in, get that kill shot you need. Scavenging Ooze, this card is really good. You know, just exile creature cards from the graveyards, put +1/+1 counters, gain life. Just super synergetic. Seaborn Muse, because, you know, putting tokens into play, you know, just on your turn isn't enough. You want to do it on every upkeep, you know, everyone else's turn too. So with this and Ghave and, you know, sack outlets and whatnot, there's going to be no creatures on the board. You're going to have a bunch of tokens. And this is just a really mean card in this deck. Grave Titan, just a really good token generator. You have my Elders in here for draw and getting ramp going. Same with Oracle. She also helps with the landfall a little bit. So I believe that this is the little combo. So the way that this works is whenever another creature or Juniper Order Ranger reads, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and Juniper Order Ranger. So you remove a +1/+1 counter from Ghave, put in a Sapling token. The Sapling gets +1/+1. Juniper Order Ranger gets +1/+1. You pay to move the counter. You sack mana, more counters. Basically, it's just an endless loop. You can have this combo basically is just infinite creatures, infinite counters, infinite mana. You know, whatever you need to do for the thing. It's not necessarily a win. You know, depending on what your opponents have, but I guess with the infinite creatures it can be. But just really synergetic. This is probably one of my decks that actually I tend to not like you know, basing a deck completely around the general, but this is probably one of the ones that actually works really well with doing that. So that's my Ghave deck.
Thank you for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.